Is the world now heading towards World War III? Will there be a full-blown war between the East and the West? Will the West be able to curb Putin's Ukraine ambitions? Or will the West be forced to bend to the Russian president's intimidation tactics? All eyes are fixed on one man, Vladimir Putin. He holds the key to many of these questions.
Putin, Vladimir Putin, a powerful man in the world.
From KGB spy to the undisputed ruler of Russia for over 2 decades, what more do we know about Putin? He's bold, aggressive, controversial. Has his thirst for power turned into paranoia? Putin has been ruling Russia since 1999 and is the longest-serving leader since Joseph Stalin. Putin was born in 1952 to a working-class family in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. He studied law at the Leningrad State University and served as a KGB intelligence officer for 15 years. His experience as a KGB spy may have helped to shape his worldview. In 1989, Vladimir Putin single-handedly defended the KGB's offices in East Germany from crowds of looters after the fall of the Berlin Wall. The 37-year-old KGB officer reportedly burnt hundreds of files to destroy as much incriminating evidence as possible. In fact, Putin admits to having burnt so many documents that the furnace began cracking. So how could one man have such a powerful influence on his country? To understand this, let's go back in the chaos and corruption that gripped Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. Putin was a loyal servant of the Soviet Union. He was dismayed when it all fell apart, an event he described as the greatest catastrophe of the 20th century. During this time of chaos, he entered politics. Things did not happen in a day, and Putin had a steep climb to the top. In 1997, then-President Boris Yeltsin handpicked Putin to lead Russia at a time when it was grappling with severe economic issues and corruption. Putin was named Yeltsin's deputy chief of staff and made the chief of the FSB a year later. Soon, the ailing Yeltsin appointed Putin as his prime minister. After Yeltsin's sudden resignation in 1999, Putin became acting president. He soon pardoned Yeltsin for corruption and strengthened his position in the election. In March 2000, with 53% of the vote, Putin became the president. Putin's second term as president ended in 2008. He then took over his prime minister to evade the constitutional law that allowed only 2 consecutive terms as president. Putin continued to exercise control over the affairs of the country before making a comeback as president in 2012. Putin was voted the world's most powerful person 4 times between 2013 to 2016, and he was still not ready to give up office. To stay in power beyond his current 4th term, which ends in 2024, Putin made constitutional reforms in 2020. It would allow him to remain president for 2 more terms. Putin had kept a relatively low profile until 1999, but he gained more public support as he launched a military operation against the rebels in Chechnya and brought it under Russian control. Putin's approval rating dramatically rose from 2% to 45%, but the cost was paid by the Republic of North Caucasus, where at least 80,000 people died. Georgia was another Caucasus flashpoint for Putin. He fumed when NATO promised membership to Ukraine and Georgia in a 2008 summit. Soon, Russia invaded Georgia and took over 2 breakaway regions, Abkhazia and South Ossetia. By now, it was clear that Putin disapproved of pro-West leaders in former Soviet states, and he would go to any extent to secure regions which he believed fell under his sphere of influence. Ukraine has been a flashpoint between the East and the West in the recent past. Tensions escalated after 2014 when Putin occupied the Crimean Peninsula. He incited a war in eastern Ukraine that's claimed over 40,000 lives so far. Now Putin has invaded Ukraine in a Crimea-like invasion. Over the years, Putin has shaped Russia into an authoritarian and militaristic society. He's expanded Russia's influence in the Middle East, strengthened ties with China, with Russia, and even Iran. It's clear that former Soviet states are what he considers his crown jewel. Putin, like all authoritarian leaders, wants to be a national hero. He hopes his Ukraine moves will create a jingoistic surge of support for him in Russia. But now, his government reportedly has less popularity. Many believe that Putin has manufactured the crisis to distract the Russian public's attention from domestic issues. It's very likely that if war happens, Putin could respond to Western powers by bolstering military ties with China, and the result could be a full-blown war between the East and the West.